Welcome to KCS Quarterly Safety News, a video for KCS by KCS about KCS safety. At KCS, we hear it a lot. Safety is our number one priority. But do our actions reflect our words? Does safety start with you? Consistent with the KCS safety value, we all must demonstrate a commitment to safety for ourselves, our fellow employees, our customers, contractors, and any other guests on our property. This is it, episode 12. We made it to the fourth quarter. But it's no time to get complacent as the year winds down, or fixated on upcoming holidays and time off, or distracted by sports or the changing seasons. We must remain alert and aware of everything we do. And like always, we need to keep a strong focus on our Cardinal Rules. Remember, Cardinal Rules are rules that are so important, not following them can have potentially dire consequences. The Cardinal Rules for this episode all relate to critical zones. A critical zone, for the sake of this video, is an area around equipment, locomotives, or engines where there is potential for a ground worker to be struck. Each department calls critical zones something different, so it's important to listen up and pay close attention. Because when you follow these, all Cardinal Rules, you're guaranteeing the safety of not only yourself, but of those around you. Engineering, let's hammer out a few things. The KCS Cardinal Rule that you must remember is 26.5, spacing between roadway maintenance machines and roadway workers to prevent personal injury. Roadway workers who must work in the vicinity of roadway maintenance machines and the operators of roadway maintenance machines will maintain a 15-foot safe area around the machine. There may be instances when the job being performed requires the roadway worker on the ground to be closer than 15 feet from the roadway maintenance machine. These duties will be performed from the location established during the job briefing. When the ground crew employees' work activities require the roadway maintenance machine to be stopped, the following steps are required. The machine operator and the ground crew employee must establish eye contact and communicate face-to-face or by radio. Then, the machine operator must stop all movement of the equipment, place machine in neutral, and lower all booms or buckets to the ground if possible. Finally, the machine operator must remove and raise hands from controls of the boom and bucket, and if equipped, deactivate control levers before ground crew employees are allowed to enter the safe zone. All right, transportation. Let's drive a few points home about GS3, red zones. The red zone is the area occupied when an employee is crossing through coupled equipment or is in proximity to cars or locomotives such that the employee could be struck. When it is necessary to enter the red zone, the employee must signal the engineer or operator using the radio or hand signals. There are different acceptable hand signals to enter the red zone depending on if it's daytime or nighttime. When it's daytime, raise one arm straight up and one arm pointed toward the cars the employee plans to go between. And when it's nighttime, swing a lantern over and back horizontally across the body. Mechanical folks, let's talk shop with Safety Rule M1 safe zones. The safe zone is any area between rolling equipment where mechanical employees must enter to perform couplings of pneumatic, electrical, or mechanical equipment. If there will be more than one employee in the safe zone, a job briefing must be performed prior to entering the safe zone and prior to clearing the safe zone. Specifically, all employees involved must confirm that proper protection has been provided before entering the safe zone and that all persons are clear before releasing the safe zone. Safe zone protection works like this. When entering any area between rolling equipment to couple, pneumatic, electrical, or mechanical equipment, and when not otherwise protected by a blue signal must be attached to each controlling locomotive at a location where it is readily visible to the operator controlling the locomotive. The hostler must be in constant radio communication with the supervisor in charge of the electric derails protecting the mechanical facility, if equipped. The hostler on the ground must be in constant radio communication with the hostler who is responsible for conditioning the locomotive controls for safe zone. When necessary to enter the safe zone, the hostler on the ground must inform the hostler at the controls of the equipment of the intent to enter the safe zone. After receiving a request for safe zone protection, the hostler at the controls of the equipment must, if at the controls of a locomotive, by verifying the automatic brake is cut in, fully apply the independent brake, and make a 20 psi brake pipe reduction, centering and removing the reverser, opening the generator field switch, aligning the isolation switch to the isolated position. Acknowledge that the equipment is set up for the safe zone. The ground person may only enter the safe zone after movement has stopped, slack has adjusted, and proper acknowledgement is received from the hostler at the controls. The hostler at the controls of the equipment must remain at the controls of the equipment the entire time the ground person is in the safe zone. So, mechanical, now that we've covered how safety zones protect you, let's talk about what comes next. M3, working on or near locomotives. There are 7 things you must remember here. Before starting or rotating the engine, determine that all employees are clear of moving parts. Before inspecting the fan and radiator compartment, shut down the engine. When the cab floor is removed, mark and barricade the cab doors to prevent unauthorized persons from entering the cab. After testing and before putting the locomotive in service, securely fasten all safety guards, equipment cabinet covers, and ceiling hatch covers. Keep the engine room, cab, running boards, catwalks, steps, and grab irons clean and free from oil, grease, rags, debris, or obstructions. Relieve pressure prior to removing a radiator cap on a hot engine. And for air brake components and piping, cut out the air brakes at the truck cutout when working on the air brake components and piping of locomotives. Prior to reapplying air to trucks, confirm all employees are clear. And when working on rail cars and other equipment, close the branch pipe cutout and drain the reservoirs. Maintain these precautions until the repairs are complete. We get it, those car shops can be loud and hot and distracting, but you're armed with protocols that will help you overcome all those external factors. Point and call your next move. Speak up and help out your coworkers as much as you can. These final few rules pertain to both mechanical and transportation. GS5, crossing through rail equipment. GS6, fouling tracks. GS7, working on or near locomotives or rail car equipment. When crossing through rail equipment, do not go between uncoupled locomotives or cars when clearance between them is less than 50 feet. Do not cross through moving equipment. Do not cross under couplers or underneath standing cars unless making repairs. Cross through or over cars only when they are equipped with crossover platforms and handholds. Exception: employees may cross over empty intermodal cars, including the stanchion portion not equipped with continuous handholds, provided the platform is wide enough to safely cross. And do not step on the coupler or uncoupling lever. Do not place hands, feet, or other parts of the body on the sliding sill or between the coupler horn and the end sill of a car, unless duties require. When you must foul the tracks, do not sit or step on rail, frogs, switches, or interlocking apparatus connections unless duties require. Do not walk, stand, or sit between rails or foul the track unless duties require. Do not sit along the edge of docks, platforms, or similar structures that are adjacent to tracks. And when working on or near locomotives or rail car equipment, remember these 9 things. Engineering and mechanical employees are not permitted to get on or off moving equipment except in an emergency. Use side ladders, sill steps, and grab irons when getting on or off equipment. Continuously maintain 3-point contact. Do not cross within 25 feet of the end of locomotives or rail car equipment. Exception: employees may cross within 25 feet of the end of the equipment that they or a member of the crew are controlling without red zone protection. Do not stand, sit, or walk on top of or on the sides of any rail car unless authorized. Do not sit or lie underneath or lean against equipment unless duties require. Do not stand or sit on locomotive or caboose handrails. Do not sit on the steps of a locomotive or caboose. Do not board cars, engines, or other equipment that displays bad order cards or tags without first knowing the nature of the defect so the defect can be avoided. Do not occupy side locomotive walkways when operating above 20 miles per hour or when operating over crossings, railroad or road, bridges, or control points. To protect yourself and others, you need to make sure you are strictly following all rules, but especially these cardinal rules. Doing so will help avoid any potential incidents. Remember, these rules were chosen to be KCS Cardinal Rules because they have the most dire consequences if not properly followed all the time. While each department has their own specific cardinal rules, it takes compliance from all KCS employees to keep us all safe. Commit these rules to memory and speak up if you see someone struggling. You owe it to your coworkers and their families. Thanks for your attention today and every day. As you head back to the yard, into your shop, or out on the track, remember to follow all the KCS Cardinal Rules. And always communicate with your team. Speak up and take care of each other. Do that, and we'll see you back here next quarter.